What's up guys, it's Derman here, giving you guys our very first tutorial on the Fenix Designs YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be going over on how to create gradient curves. Now gradient curves aren't too hard to do. I'm going to show you two methods on how to do them today. In my opinion, gradient curves really work well with the duotone Spotify style. So with gradient curves, you can mix in patterns, textures, whatever you want, and the design will look pretty nice. Alright, let's start the document. So I'm using 300 resolution. You don't really have to, it just looks nice. In reality, most of the things you publish online will just be in 72 dpi. Resolution what I'm going with is 1920 by 1080. Again, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to be showing you guys how to do the actual effect. Alright, let me just unlock this layer. Alright, now we're going to want to create a new layer. This is where we're going to put the gradient. Once you have that done, we're going to get the pen tool. So I start outside the document. Usually I like to get one inside the middle of the document. Then I'll end one maybe curved down outside of the document, and you want to wrap the whole path all the way around. Once you have that, you want to right click on it, fill, and then fill it with a solid color. To delete the path, all you got to do is click on any of the anchor points where you're selected on the layer, and then just press delete. So my Photoshop is a little glitchy there, but you see once I zoom in, it's gone. So now you have this curve, and it looks flat. So go under blending options on the layer that the curve is on. Then we can mess around with gradients. So you can already see it looks pretty nice with the gradient I have there. You can mess around with reverse gradients, etc. I'd recommend making your own gradients or finding a bunch of gradient packs online. If not, you can create your own. It's not too hard. So here I'm changing the color. I'm changing it to a pink, and you see the gradient, whatever that point is, that's where that part bleeds more into. You can move these little parts around and change their locations with the percent. So now we press OK. So this already looks pretty nice. If you're doing an ad or something, you could put some text in the background. Cool gradient. But you get the gist. Now you have this nice little curve, and it has a gradient on it. Now if you want to, you could also make the background a gradient and try to, make it darker, use the same gradient that you have but maybe reverse it or change the angle it's on. There's a lot of things you can mess around with to create a cool little kind of like depth effect with the gradient. You can also rotate this thing around if you'd like. Obviously you create the path so the edges won't show, but you can copy and paste and do a lot of other things. Now if you want this in absolute high res, you could literally do this exact same thing but in Illustrator. Just mess around with it. Doesn't look too bad. I don't necessarily like this, but yeah. Alright, so I said there was two methods, so let's go over the second method. So we just cleared the layer so we can have our old little blue curve that we made back. Now one of the ways you can actually do a gradient effect is by just making the gradient yourself. So you'd create a layer on top, create a clipping mask, just right click the layer and then it's a clipping mask. So anything you do on that layer will attach itself to the layer below, not the background. So you can see when I put this little white stroke, it affects only the blue part. So you just want to take an opaque brush, any of the brushes that don't have a solid edge around them. If you have any custom brushes installed, you can mess around with those too. If you want a darker gradient, I'd recommend just using a darker color, or I recommend using maybe a less saturated version of the color you're using right now. You can see there that I'm messing around with the blending option and opacities, because sometimes with the brush it can look a little too harsh. You can fix this by just, pointing the brush a little more up, using a different kind of brush. Now this looks pretty good right now. You can just fill it with a pattern or something. This Phoenix pattern doesn't really work that well, but as I said earlier, it's just something that you can like attach to it and mess around with. But anyways guys, that's been our tutorial on how to do gradient curves in Photoshop. If you want an Illustrator tutorial, feel free to comment down below. It isn't much harder, it's basically the same. And once again, if I hadn't said it before, thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the tutorial, we'd appreciate so much if you left a like and subscribe. As always, our social medias are down in the description below and on our channel page. But until next time, until the next tutorial, video, whatever we end up doing, I'll catch you guys later.